And they're off. So we have... Welcome to the Herd Summer Racing League. This is Craig Martin. I have with me Dave. Dave Roberts, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, Craig. First broadcast, so let's see how this goes.
Okay, now I am trying to fix a thing. So the D's have gone. I don't know if you can see any D's, but I am trying to create a thing here.
I'm sitting here watching the B's in the pen with 4 minutes to go. Let me see if I can get to any D's.
Okay.
Okay, I've got to the D's. There you go. I've got Jeff on at the moment.
Okay, here we go. I've got Mike. Hoo-hoo! We got that finally. Okay, so I'm going to need to sort out some things I just broke, but what we've got here is, in the D category, it looks like we have 20 riders, which is terrific. I think one of them is my camera, but that's still a really good turnout for a pretty hard course. So I see
like good herd representation in the D's.
Excellent herd representation. So Ed Whedon of the herd, he's got the Gorillas tag right now. Mike, I'm not sure which Mike that is. Morgan, Queasy Quarter Horses. Herd of Queasy Quarter Horses. We've got Jeff's in here. Yeah, this is pretty good.
Yeah, certainly. Looks like Jeff managed to get his way and have a nice sensible roll to the climb, which I think he was hoping for. So a bit of tactical awareness in the pen about how the points score in the group might get in the desired result.
Yeah. So I mean, so I always explain that too when I'm in the pen. I would rather race folks that are racing the same race I'm racing. If you know what I mean.
Depends how big the pen is. Depends how big the pen is. Who's scary?
Well, there's some of that.
I've raced some big fields where it's very obvious people aren't racing the same race. Basically, if they want to shoot off the front, no worries, you can go off the front, and I'll see you on the results page. But yeah, it's always worth clarifying at some point during the race, definitely.
Yeah. Excuse me. So the C's are off. Lots of herd in here too. We've got Kai Sonder, Chris Greenland, John Keenan. Who else do we have in here? And look, is that Paul Shekaro? Yes, I believe it is. So Paul's right up at the front. Everybody else is sitting at the back. Looks like 17. So 16 with, I think I'm the only one not doing this. So yeah, 16, pretty good pack. Smaller than I had in my race earlier, but that's pretty good.
He's off in 50 seconds. It looks like there's 26 in the pen for the B's, or 23 in the pen already. 26 registered. Good
stuff.
Look at the B's. We've got quite a few herd in there as well. So I've got psychologist I'm going to follow. Rob Hirschberger races with OTR and herd.
Yeah, yeah.
Looks like there's quite a few nice other shirts in there as well. So it looks like a decent turnout there. So
excellent.
B's off in 15 seconds. I always like this course. This course is one of my favourites to race. We picked this course in ladder quite a few times.
Have you really?
It's a good course to race, this one.
Man.
Yeah, we do. We picked this course in ladder about 4 or 5 times.
That's brutal.
If you look at the numbers and they've got better short-term power, but you think you've got better long-term power, it's an obvious choice. Right?
It is. Yeah. So I mean, in my race earlier, I did win the climb for out of nobody was more surprised than me. But okay, so yeah, that looks like 25. So probably 24 rolling out.
25 in the B field.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see Rob Hirschberger. I can see Psychologist I'm following. Who else is in the Bs? I saw more Herd jerseys than that.
Hard to say. Some might not have a Herd tag on their name, too.
True. Looks like the Bs are ticking along, low threes. Nice. That's a reasonable pace for Bs for the climb.
Yeah. So the C's just hit the climb, or are about to hit the climb. I hate that. Oh no, they're about to hit the start of the segment. They made the left turn. A little bit of chatter about the kits.
This one goes left at the roundabout or right at the roundabout?
Left at the roundabout. So this is the forward direction that is, the replica of the World Championships, but
slightly longer way up this one here. I think I slightly prefer the climb when we go right. It's a bit more consistent, I think, but the one where you go left is it undulates a little bit more. It's a bit more on off in certain points.
No, I think it's opposite. The one to the right.
That way around?
Yeah, so this one's not as steep, but it's a little steadier,
right, okay.
I think.
Okay. It's a bit longer, I think, this one here.
Yes. Yes, it will take you longer, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so D's,
right, so
we've got...
looks like Psychologist knows what he's doing in B, and it's just sitting just off the back.
Yeah.
1 or 2 seconds is always an advantage on the way into a time segment.
Yeah, so, I mean, the time segment's a bit of ways. So Mike's sitting in second. Ed Whedon's right there. Jeff is right there. Looks pretty good for the Herd Riders in D. C Riders are just coming up to the roundabout to make their left turn. How are things going in the Bs?
Oh, the Bs are just turning up towards the climb towards the roundabout. So they're literally just starting the drag up towards the roundabout now. Through the roundabout, they take the left, and then into the climb. This climb's always interesting because the climb doesn't really start till 200 or 300 meters after the line, right? So as you come across the line, it's almost a dip into it, and then it's a bit of a flat drag, and then the climb kicks in after that. So it's always when do you time the push from my perspective. So you kind of sit in for a while generally and let somebody else do the early effort normally from my perspective and try and hold their wheels. So.
Well, that's what I did the whole way up. I tailgunned the start of the segment with one other rider, let him pull me back to the group, and then I was actually third across the line at the top. One rider who had broken away on the flat before the climb actually beat me, I think, by 8 seconds across the line, but I won the segment. So.
That's ideal, really. So if you cross the line with somebody else, they think they're beating you by 3 or 4 seconds, and they're actually not. Then that's the ideal way to do FTS. So. It
really is. Certainly on something
with any kind of climb, I don't have enough confidence in my own climbing ability to attack until we get anywhere near the top. So I'm always going to sit in and let others set the pace till we get very near the top, and then if I'm feeling good at that point in time, have a go at the top. So.
Yeah, no, I was certainly surprised. So the C's are moving along pretty well and still pretty much all together, I think. One rider just stopped. I don't know whether he had an electronical or what, but I think the The remaining 15 are all together. Oh no, there's one rider off the front. Sorry, pounding forward at 4.6 watts a kilogram. So we'll see.
The bees are just coming into the climb, and it certainly wasn't easy on the ramp up to the roundabout. I saw 4s and 5s on the ramp up to the roundabout, so they're literally just hitting the start of the segment now.
Oh, there we go.
The bees are in the segment.
So it looked like Duncan was the last man through, and other than that, It was psychologist.
Correct. Duncan and psychologist starting at the back, but not really much in it. I mean, you know, neither of them gave the group a big lead out. Both of them were just a matter of seconds, or a matter of half a second. So
yeah. Oh no, just enough that if you finish with somebody, you've beaten them.
Correct. You beat anybody in the group you're in, but not anybody in a group in front of you. So.
Yeah.
We got the bees are going, so 4.5 on the front of the bees at the bottom.
Yeah, that's that'll happen. Actually, it was for a good chunk of the first 4 minutes or 3 or 4 minutes. I think I was well above my FTP. So, and I just did.
Yeah, that seems to be the way you have to climb on Zwift, right? You seem to have to be prepared to put yourself in a deep, dark hole at the bottom and then just sit there for the rest of the climb, right?
Yeah.
I've got there's a rider I race with on regularly on a weekday who likes to sprint the bottom part of the climb. I've got no idea how he does it, but he aggressively attacks the bottom part of every climb and then somehow just sits in a hole at threshold for the rest of it, which is an unpleasant way of climbing, in my opinion. But all right, it's all getting stretched out. But the bees are catching the back of the C's.
Yeah, it's. I think that was going to happen pretty quickly.
Yeah. So the gaps get eaten up pretty quickly on a climb. So.
Yeah,
So it looks like we've got Kane Nunn up the front of the bees. Looking resplendent in an orange kit.
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like the bees are so there's a D-pack out front that's going really well. I think the bees are going to catch this front C's before the C's catch those D's.
He's shifting at the moment. 4.5's everywhere. 4.5's everywhere, so it's definitely above threshold.
Yeah.
Psychologist still hanging in that lead group. It's just Kane Nunn 4 seconds off the front of the bees at the moment, followed by a group of about bigger group than I thought, followed by a group of 8.
Yeah. So just look
of psychologist and Bodnam in that group. Duncan's in that group as well. So the 2 that came through from the back, both in that second group.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys are climbing strong. Just going back, looking at the C's, it's still the one rider off the front, and then it looks like a group of 5. Kai Sonder of the herd just a couple seconds behind that. But yeah, John Keenan and Chris Greenland both in that group, along with Ginny Lupo of ATP, who's a heck of a climber. So I am expecting to see her put in an attack here, based on racing against her.
I envy people who can attack on climbs.
So in the old power base categories, she's a lightweight, so can go a little above in watts per kilogram. She gives it up on the. It's fair. She gives it up on the sprints, but
that's yeah, the lightweight riders definitely have an advantage on climbs where they sit below the raw watts for the power banding. But you know, like you say, they do suffer on sprints.
Yeah.
Plus they get attacked out the pens in races like ladder as well. So
yeah. So is that
we've certainly raced teams who literally look at it and go, they've got a lightweight rider. Let's sprint out the pen and see if we can shake them. So
yeah.
Yes.
So is that Murrow who has raced with Herd?
Yeah, so I was raced with Herd. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've raced with him. He's good to see him doing some Herd Summer Racing League.
Yeah, he's a pretty strong climber as well, if I remember correctly.
He's an excellent climber. He's a scary good climber.
It's like psychologist is getting a bit keen and setting the pace.
Oh. Switch him back. Yeah, he's near the front here. I don't know. Figure he can get lost is going through the other categories here, or
he's a pretty strong B psychologist.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
The front of that A, where the front of that B group goes? There was one rider off the front. Has he caught those C's in front already?
I don't think I've seen him. No,
I
think
he hasn't. Where's he?
He's come back to the group, I think.
Yeah.
Or is there one rider ahead? Sorry, no, there is. Yeah, there's a K Nunn.
It was a K Nunn. He had 4 or 5 seconds. He seems to have gone a bit there. There we go.
Yeah, so he's up in front of that C group. Yeah.
He's fairly climbing. He's got 22 seconds on the main group. Their effort to put 22 seconds into the rest of the Bs. They were fairly flying.
Yeah, that's something. Unless it was mostly just keeping going when they backed off a little bit at some point. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, switching back. Just looking at the Ds here. So it has stretched out quite a bit. Looks like a couple riders way out front, still 20 seconds ahead of where Nunn is. And then I see Jeff, Morgan of Quarter Horses, and Mike and Ed, the 4 Herd riders, all riding pretty close together. Morgan, I think, is 7 seconds ahead of the other 3. So doing pretty good.
Rob Hirschberger. Just watching Rob Hirschberger in the Bs. He races for OTR and Herd, so he races TTTs with the Herd, and he races ladder with the randos, I think. So with Herd in the randos, and certainly I've seen him in Herd TTT teams as well. So he seems just 15 seconds off the back of the main bunch, I think. So sitting here with a B tack in B, just tapping out. I mean, when you're getting dropped and you're doing 4.2s on a climb, that's
that's difficult.
It's a relatively spicy B grade, so
yeah, that's difficult. I'm trying to. Sorry if I'm a little distracted. I'm trying to get something running for when we get to the top here.
I think that's RT. He used to race with the Herd as well, so.
Oh yes, I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure he used to race with us as well. So only for a couple of seasons because he got bumped up to A, I think. But looks like he's back down in B again. He's climbing pretty well. Looks like he might be getting onto the back of the group in front, maybe. Yeah, it looks like RT's clawing his way back onto the back of that main B bunch, or the front B bunch.
Yep. Yeah, I did
On their
find.
foot.
I find on this climb there's often a lot of that, as the group will surge, but then somebody surged but didn't really have the power to go that speed, and then it all kind of comes back together a little bit.
Oh yeah, there's multiple ways to climb this climb, right? You can either, and I've actually found, I've tested both ways. So one, just tapping out what I think I can sustain for 20 minutes and riding it steady that way, and another way, going with the bunch on surges and then easing up and going and averaging about the same watts. And I
Yep.
think what I found was my surgy time was actually slightly quicker. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting, differences in times. You're outputting a similar number of average watts, but just surging on the steeper sections, relaxing on the flatter sections, and that seems to be the quickest way to get up here.
No, for sure. Especially if you can arrange things so you're in the draft of somebody a little bit stronger than you when you are. Yeah.
If you can find somebody, who wants to keep working on the flats while you're recovering, that's perfect. Right?
Yep. I managed that a couple times earlier. It was terrific.
Thank you very much for keeping the power down on the one draftable section. You're amazing. Well, that second B bunch is just starting to get stretched out a little bit. It looks like S-Mac is starting to push the pace on the front. I mean, it's only a couple of seconds, but you can definitely see the group is getting longer. Psychologist and Duncan just caught behind, a little 1 second split at the moment. It's about to flatten out though, so they're probably going to get back in as the draft kicks in.
Yeah, I think you're likely correct.
Someone's determined to someone's determined to snap the elastic as they hit the flat. 4.9s on the front of that group. Looks like Duncan and RT have managed to stay in. Looks like Psychologist has been snapped and Arouse managed to stick in as well. So.
Oh, good.
A bit of unofficial herd representation in that front B group, but no herd jerseys anymore.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm just playing around with that points display.
It looks like the lead A's have gone through that B group already. So you've got a couple of A's who are 4 seconds off None. So None is currently at the head of the race, I think. Looking at it, but he is very quickly about to get caught by a couple of A's knocking out 5s.
Oh,
he's got Chris Keogh and. Chris Keogh is a New Zealand rider I see around quite a lot. He seems to do quite a lot of herd racing. He seems to do quite a lot of racing full stop. Chris Keogh races for ESRT.
Okay.
He's a very strong rider. I'm just watching the front B's. Yeah, you've got Sakaguchi on the front doing 5.6 at the moment. Keogh sitting out knocking 6s, holding his wheel. It's definitely spicy amongst those two A's.
Actually, it looks like Sakaguchi's.
That's now the front of the race. So.
Yeah. Looking at Sakaguchi's on Zwift Power Live, it looks like he has been averaging 5.3 for the race.
Yeah, that looks about right. I'm looking at it right now. 5.3 and a 5.9 between the two of them. So somehow None's actually holding them. So None is doing 5s as well. So
so I think he's doing what I mentioned there, trying to get a little bit of draft while he can, and just get a little bit more space that way. It looks like he's got a little over 30 seconds to the next bees. So
I suspect he's getting gapped here, which is no surprise, seeing as he's just surged to over 5 to try and hold those A's up up that steep little ramp. Still, 2 seconds off the A's. Looks like the B group's getting spicy now. Raoul's pushing numbers back there.
Yeah, so they are getting close to the top, I think.
Yeah, they're at least 75% of the way up. Just looking at them. The A's started a minute after the B's, did they?
3 minutes after.
A's started 3 minutes after the B's.
I believe so. Let me go back and double check here.
That's a fair amount of climbing for the A's to put 3 minutes into the B's comfortably by 75% of the way up the climb.
No, 2 minutes behind. Sorry. So okay. Yeah, it was 3 minutes between the D's and C's, 2 minutes, and then another 2 minutes, I think. Yeah.
Normally by this point in the climb, I'm trying to convince myself I can cling on to the top and it's probably only one more steep ramp until it starts to flatten out, right? So.
Yeah, I try to convince myself of that even when I know there's more than one steep ramp.
Correct. Well, the more difficult ones are the ones down the bottom where your heart rate's getting close to where it maxes out anyway, and you're only 25% into the climb. 75% of the way up the climb, you can normally convince yourself you're just about there still. So. Especially when you start to see these yellow bits coming up, you know when you see that yellow bit at the top, you're probably 900 meters from where it becomes a little bit more draftable and a little bit more manageable, and
yeah,
you might be able to get away with doing a few less watts than the person in front of you.
So looking at the C's, looks like Kai Sonder is probably a couple minutes back in 8th place. John Keenan is a little over a minute back in 5th place. And we've got, Ginny Lupo has gone. So she's got a 38-second lead on Chris Greenland, who has a 35-second lead on 3rd place. So the C's are definitely not acting like the C's did in my race, where we all kind of climbed together. Though we are getting closer to the top, where this does kind of make sense to break it apart.
Yeah, this is kind of the bit where you want to push, right? So I'm looking at the B's now. They're realistically hitting the final steep ramp just now. So the final red bit before they hit the top, and then it all flattens out a bit. I mean, you're still climbing. It's still I think 3 or 4%. It's still yellow, but it's climbing at 3 or 4% is better than climbing at 10%. So
it really is.
Votiar's still in there. RT's still there. Sal's still there. It's like Psychologist's about 30 seconds off the back of that group. I think Rob Hirschberger is a minute off the back of the group, I think, last time I looked. Yeah, another 30 seconds behind Psychologist.
Yeah, so in the D's, it looks like those 4 herd riders are sitting 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, spread out by about 45 seconds.
Nice.
Okay, so I am going to try a thing here and see whether
the B's are hitting the top right now. It's all flattening out. There you go, down to 3% for the B's at last. 2%, you have draft kick in again, so
yeah, so they're coming close. We'll see the point screen, the black on the right for anybody watching. Should show the points as the B's come through, but we will see.
You can now see the banner appearing in the mini-map for the B's. Final push to the line. There's definitely a push to the line going on. There's some big numbers there on the front of the bees.
There are.
I can see sixes coming from, who's that? Eloisel?
Loisel? I don't know.
Loisel, certainly a big push for the line coming there.
Ooh.
Taylor going over the top pretty aggressively.
Yeah, see if it's too soon or not.
It looks like Taylor's got it, I think.
Yeah, draft power up.
Release the draft span, maybe. Coming back. He's not having it. Not having it.
No. But I think
looks like Duncan in third. That's a good push from Duncan. He crossed the line.
Yeah,
He's probably got second in that group.
Yeah, we'll just see.
There you go. There is the benefit of tail gunning when you look at that. 20.07 versus 20.07.9. Duncan crept into second there, just behind Nunn on that section, just by tail gunning and coming in. You know, it wasn't much. It was only a second or so behind the group, but it's enough to it's enough to take second, even though you cross the line third.
Yeah.
Now my favourite part of this route.
It was certainly mine.
Although surprisingly, I've raced a few races here where this is where people start to get really aggressive.
Well, so I did. I crossed the line third, and I ended up with a pretty good lead by the bottom. So Ginny Lupo in the C's has crossed at 22:34. I'm following Chris Greenland. Looks like he's got a draft from one of the B's, Hirschberger, actually. So he's sitting there with Rob.
You talk about people attacking on the descent. I just saw Chris Keogh in the A's doing 8.5 on the descent.
Oh, yeah.
He's shaping Sakaguchi now by 20 seconds. It looks like Nunn is being reeled back in by the B's, basically. So Nunn is down to 17 second gap over the main B's, who should descend quicker than him. So I'd imagine they'll all be coming into the snapper together.
Yeah. So Chris Greenland crosses a minute behind Lupo, the 23:30. So that would have won him the climb in my race by 30 seconds.
Interestingly enough, if you look at the B's, Urao was in that main B bunch as they approached that final push to the top.
Yep.
He's now 40 seconds off the back.
Whew.
So it just goes to show that one push, literally as it started to flatten out at the top, Urao was still in that main B bunch. That final push in the descent has put 45 seconds into him already. It looks like Eloisel is being aggressive on the descent. She's put 4 seconds in. I'm assuming it's a she. They've put 4 seconds into the main bunch behind them just on the descent.
Let's just take a look here. No, that's Eric Loisel, I believe. Yep.
He's fairly flying away from that group, riding aggressively as well. He's going to make contact with Nunn very shortly.
Oh, Chris is getting some good toe from Rob here. Rob's pushing 4+, and Chris.
I'm not sure why people would ride the descent aggressively in this race. There's no points on offer here.
I assume it's for the 2 points per place, and or to close a gap. So they've got
10 points. 10 points.
So yeah, finish points, but they've got there's an A rider 6 seconds ahead of them, so they may be just trying to hook together here.
Yeah, so Eric Loisel is about to make contact with Nunn. It's literally a 1 second gap. That gap's been closed. The bunch behind them is closing as well. That's all going to come back.
Okay, just switching backwards here in the C's. So Balke and John Keenan just crossed the line at about 26 minutes. And they are, yeah, so John's pushing, Balke's kind of not. If John can get some speed up and pass him quickly, it might be hard to catch his wheel.
Snowballing past each other. That's going to come back. They're going to close Nunn and Eric down again.
Yeah, looks like. So checking in on the D's. Got so Sherry of ATP and I think is it Dan Schewel? Anyway, they have just crossed. Looks like we got Crossdale in third. 15 seconds behind that is Jeff. And another 13 seconds to Mike of the Herd. Another 15 seconds to Morgan. And then about 45 more seconds back to Ed Whedon of Gorillas. So Kai Saunders now he's now finished the climb and on the descent as well in the C's.
Onto the B's at the bottom of the climb. They're all back together again.
Well, there's A group together again.
They're not. Eric's off the front.
Yeah.
It's like Eric's still pushing the pace.
And Morau's a minute back.
Well, Nunn is pushing the pace as well. These aren't hanging around. They're on the flat, easy bit. There's no points on offer, and I can still see sixes on the front.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't think Nunn is happy about Eric going off the front. That's an interesting way to race this race in the biggies.
Yeah. So it looks like Chris Greenland pulled Ginny Lupo back by about 20 seconds on the descent. I don't know. That's probably not enough for him to catch her by the end. Unless he can hitch a ride with somebody. So he dropped Rob Hirschberger by 17 seconds as well. So it looks like he got on with it there, trying to catch Ginny.
Rob's no slouch either.
No, he's not. Chris is really good and very good at the tactics. So yeah, the sprint and super tuck is, that's how you're gonna catch someone who's climbed away from you.
Yeah. All right. You can make up big gaps if you can sprint and super tuck.
Yeah.
You can create big gaps if you can sprint and super tuck properly.
So Ginny's hooked on with a psychologist and Morau though, so that's going to be tough to pull back.
Well, it looks like RT is the one to push the pace in the B's right now. He's bridged across to Eric. They have 3 seconds over the main bunch, but RT is sitting on the front of that group doing 5s on the way into the snapper.
I mean, I love.
I'll tell you right now, on the way into the snapper, every single lap, at this point in time, I am trying to get my heart rate down. It's what I'm trying to do. I know I have a very brutal 40 to 50 second punch coming up.
Yeah. So I think
do attack on the way into the snapper is silly.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I admire people who attack on the way into the snapper. I wouldn't say silly.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you make a gap, you can make a gap. Looks like Chris kind of read that one around the same time that we did. He has he's set up and waited for Rob and C Cycling who Rob was riding with. So we've got 3 riders from 3 categories riding in down towards the Legsnapper now.
Nice. The front of the Bs have just hit the snapper. Big numbers coming from Eric.
Ooh, yep.
Considering that wasn't slow on the way in.
No. Some big numbers behind them too.
Behind.
Yeah.
So can the group behind close 10 seconds is the question. Certainly going to go up quicker, that second B group. So whoever's in that second B group is certainly going to get a faster time. Yeah, it looks like RT's getting caught by K Nunn now. Duncan's coming through with K Nunn as well. So that's going to be the fastest 2 times up there.
Likely.
It's going to be Duncan or K Nunn gets the fastest time. Duncan takes the fastest time. Again, tail gunning for the win. So Kanan actually finished in front of Duncan, but Duncan got the quicker time as well there. So Duncan's got second on the climb and first on the snapper.
First so far. The Bs are quite spread out, so you never know here.
Yeah, true. Heading down towards the sprint, that front B group, so they're all 1 second out. They're going to probably sprint together.
If I were Duncan, I'd be waiting for them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Looks like Nunn wants Duncan to lead him out. He's quite happy to sit on Duncan's wheel.
Yeah, so just switching back to Chris Greenland in the C's as they come into the snapper. See what they've got to play with here. So the A rider was on the front there doing 4s on their way in, so it should be a pretty good entry speed. And
just watching Duncan here, he's just dropping off the back a little bit as they come into the sprint. Again, he's going to tail gun from the back of this group. Looks like he knows how to race points races.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just dropped his draft band. He just needs somebody on the front to go and lead him out. There you go. Eric's going at 6s. Duncan hits 10s. This should be a relatively fast sprint, although there's minimal draft for him. Doing decent numbers. I think he's got his group definitely.
Chris still.
Interestingly enough, that second group of Bs haven't sprinted the sprint.
Oh.
So that second group of Bs have rolled through at mid-4s. So they're at risk because there's a lot of points on offer for this sprint. If a group behind them sprints hard, yeah, it looks like the group behind them sprinting hard. So it looks like Taylor's group is going faster than the group in front of them. Let's have a quick look where they come through the line when the times come through.
Oh my. So in the C's, Chris Greenland came through with a 53.399. So that is almost 10 seconds faster than Lupo. And we'll see that 102. There could easily be riders in the C's behind that beat that. So that could get interesting points wise.
Any B's yet to come through the snapper? There we go, maybe. There we go. Yeah, there's a B coming through the snapper. If you're looking at the times on the B's now, it looks like we've got 13 of the B's through the snapper so far, I think. We've still got Duncan on top. A second clear, followed by Nunn, followed by Rob Hirschberger actually in third. So Rob Hirschberger's got a good time on the snapper.
Yeah, so he was with Chris Greenland. They had very, very similar times in C and
yeah, he's got a 53 seconds through there. So
yeah, Chris as well. Okay, so just gonna
I think
switch and watch Rob and Chris. Rob and Chris are just coming into the sprint.
Yeah. Okay. There's Rob. Because Rob can sprint. And he's gone early here. Rob is giving this sprint a go. If he gets a good time through here, he could make up some points. There's a lot of points on offer here, and a group in front of him didn't sprint. So
yeah, he could make up several positions. Yeah,
he's on for a good. He's had no lead out, but he's doing solid numbers. So
yeah, Chris used it, but I think Chris used up a lot of matches on that Legsnapper.
Oh, Rob Hirschberger threw the sprint in first.
Ooh, yeah, that'll do it.
There you go. 19.45. Double points on the sprint. Rob Hirschberger picking up big points on the sprint.
And looks like, yeah, so Chris hit a 20.4. Yeah, 3.5 seconds faster than Ginny, who's ahead of him. So really, for the C's, it's going to take a while to see what's going to happen here. I'm going to move backwards in the watch some riders a little further back because it's going to matter. Okay, where's Paul? Let's take a look at Paul Shuckrow. He's riding right now with Morgan of the Queasy Quarter Horses. Moving in.
Nunez coming through the sprint now, although not really sprinting. Missed the finish at the front of the B's. I can see Psychologist heading through to the finish now. He had a good sprint as well. It looks like he was fourth in the sprint. So through the sprint in the B's, you've got Rob Hirschberger, you've got Duncan, you've got Eric Loisel, and then you've got Psychologist in the top four. Oh. And the B's are sprinting for the finishes, sprinting for the thin line as well now. So
yeah, good sprint on Psychologist there.
Yeah. Psychologist not letting Lynch go.
No, it looks like he was just staying in the draft until his aero patter up was done.
Past him though.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
a little bit of it. He got dummied. That was that's a good match sprint. Yeah.
That was a good sprint from both of them there. Lynch,
yeah.
So Psychologist let Lynch lead him out. Lynch let Psychologist come past, and then just went right. See you later. I didn't get off Psychologist in time, so I've now crossed the finish line. Let me go and see who I can find who's still racing. I think Rob's still there. Yeah, there you go, back into the race. Looks like Chris Greenland is just 8 seconds off the back of Rob. That's a solid climb from Chris, a solid race from Chris.
Yeah, so Chris dropped off after the sprint. He's got...
Looks like he's managed to...
He's got minutes.
Well, it looks like he's managed to stay ahead of. They stayed ahead of Jason Robinson as well. So Jason Robinson is, might have had 2 second handicap on Rob, but still, Jason Robinson's no slouch.
Yeah.
We raced their 4-star team in ladder. I can tell you now, he's no slouch.
Yeah. So we'll see. It doesn't look like anybody else has beaten Lupo's time on the Legsnapper. As I watch Morgan of the... Yeah. Morgan in the D's and Paul Shuckrow riding together. In the D's, we've got... Jeff is just coming into the start of the Legsnapper.
Yep. So it looks like the B's snapper times are all quite interesting. Top 5, I saw, it looks like Rob, Eric. It was Duncan top, Eric's Nunn second, Eric third, or Rob third, I think, Eric fourth, and then Psychologist fifth, I think.
Yeah.
And Rob and Duncan are 1 and 2 in the sprint as well. So I think Duncan is in a very good position, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's got the fastest snapper, the second fastest sprint, the second fastest com. Might come down to fin points, but I think Duncan is probably in a very good place in Bs.
Yeah, so looking at the Cs and the live points for the Cs, I think Chris is likely going to get it just as as more Cs come through, because I think even if the Legsnapper time holds up for Lupo, I think her sprint time is going to get beaten. And I think that it will probably be enough.
Yeah, double points on the sprint. Some people who didn't sprint the sprint, I've seen some groups just roll through the sprint, could end up costing them. So
yeah,
those that know what they're doing have definitely sprinted the sprint. If you look at it, the fastest times on the sprint are Rob, Eric, psychologist, none. Those are the fastest 4 times through the B sprint. I'm watching Binet and the Bs. Doesn't look like they're rolling, pushing through the sprint, so they're probably just completing the course.
Yeah. So looking at Jeff. Oh. Just looking at the times in the Ds. So on the KOM, Sherry from ATP with a just under 28, Shewell, Crossdale, and then Jeff, Mike, Morgan, and Ed. On the snapper, Morgan did well. Yeah, the order's a little bit more mixed up on the snapper, as I think it probably is most spots.
Just watching Whedon climb the snappers, but I can't see the D times, unfortunately. I'm only in the B's race, so I can only see the B times.
Yeah, so Whedon on the snapper, just watching him right now. So the D times range right now all the way from 1:15.9 to 2:18.4. So yeah, and then looking back to the C's, leg snapper there. Just waiting for this.
Watching Jeff hit the sprint.
Oh.
Sprinting.
Pretty good sprint here.
Yeah, decent sprint. Looks like Mike is sprinting behind him, but not quite as quickly as Jeff if you go on pure numbers.
Yeah.
Right after that, I think.
Okay, so in the C's, Paul Shuckrow's coming in towards the sprint now.
Looks like Morgan's sprinting in the D's.
Sprinting quite quickly.
Yeah. I can see fire socks.
Yeah. So on the sprint, so he is still almost 2 seconds behind Jeff. Jeff hit that one really well.
Good sprint from so Jeff's got the top sprint in the D's?
That I can see, although I think if a lead D already finished, I think they drop off of this. So
right, okay.
Yeah, so I'm saying Jeff, Morgan, Shewell, Mike, and Crossdale in order on the sprints. Looks like Paul didn't have a lot left for the sprint, which is quite understandable.
I rarely do by the time we hit the sprint. I'm hoping I'm normally not having to race another bunch at the sprint. So
Yeah.
in fact, to be fair, I hate the snapper after you climbed Innsbruck.
Oh, it's hard. Oh, that sucks.
Oh,
It's really, it is such a it was such a great course for the World Championships. It was different than the flat, punchy ones they'd had for the few years before that. Yeah, it was an interesting race course.
It's always really fun when we race it in ladder because we've got one rider in our team who can climb the snapper ridiculously. So he can climb Innsbruck at, over threshold and then hit the snapper and still do the snapper at 20 seconds quicker than anybody else in the group he's with, basically. So
yeah.
If you watch any of our UCI, if you watch any of the ladder races we've done around UCI, it's always really funny because even if Aaron's 10 seconds off the guy in front of him, I guarantee he'll be 10 seconds ahead by the time of snapper. It's silly impressive watching somebody who can climb for 20 minutes at threshold and then still do a 1 minute max effort afterwards.
It looks like
Jeff's about to finish.
Jeff's about to finish. Looks like about 30 seconds later, Mike and Morgan will be done. And then Crossdale, who I think had a really good climb time and then got passed by the other guys here.
See Shuckrogue in the Seas behind him in her jersey.
Yep.
And then Wheaton in the D's just behind him, another minute behind him. Oh, somebody, looks like Wheaton climbed with no, surely that's not. Surely he's stopped and changed that. Wheaton's got a disc on now, so.
So does
Paul.
Sorry,
Shuckrowe's got it. Yeah. Shuckrowe's got a disc on now, sorry.
Yeah. So I don't know. He might have. I don't know.
Surely you don't climb Innsbruck with a disc on.
Yeah. I don't want to put anything past anyone.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that he's stopped and he's changed that for the sprint is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. No, I think he likely stopped at the top. And
yeah.
Because if you stop right at the top, I think you will come to a stop. So he may have swapped the disc there. Because I think the disc would be faster on... It would not be a big disadvantage on the Legsnapper anyway. Yeah. You're going fast enough there.
It's certainly you're pushing big numbers on the snapper, whatever category in, right? So...
Yeah, so
Shuckrowe coming home, you can see the finish line.
Yeah, that'll be it. Just looking at our the live points that we
just quickly, I saw some orange numbers. Just flicking back to the B's, Michael is going in the B's.
Holy cow! Yeah.
What sprint time do you go? Oh, that's a pretty good sprint time. So that's a 21.29. It's not good enough to take out Duncan or Hirschberger, I think, but that'll be a top 5 sprint in the B's there.
Yeah.
And Michael coming through relatively, so double points on the sprint for that one there. So that should be a nice jump for Michael, probably.
Yeah, it's interesting because then you've lost 2 points per place all the way through on finish. So that's a lot of. Anyway, be interesting to see how that works out.
You probably thinking about it, you probably gain what you lose, right? It's probably almost a trade-off, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Here comes one of the A's sprinting pretty quickly. J Mo going. Let's see his times. I think that was a reasonable sprint.
Yeah. Somebody can see that. Let me see. Nope, that's broken. Okay.
We've got Michael rolling home in his ATP kit and his very fashionable UK bucket hat.
That is a great bucket hat. Well, so I think that's all our herd riders who've finished. I think we can probably wrap it up there. Definitely, as riders trickle in and how they do on the sprints and the leg snapper may change the points. So, yeah, the points will change a little bit as people come into the finish on this. We were running the live points plugin that we got from Aaron Terra. Big thanks to him. And yeah, so it looks like Chris Greenland probably won that by a single point over Lupo of ATP. So well done there. And so
good racing all around.
Excellent racing all around. Dave, thanks very much for joining me. Thanks everyone for watching. Moo and good night.
Thanks everyone.